Hello, and welcome back to Alex's Daily Grind, where I talk about whatever the hell I want, because I can, because it's my podcast. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a startup, if you're just a person that, loves free thinkers, then, well, this might be a good place for you. While you're driving, I don't know, standing in traffic if you're in LA, just doing whatever, really. I'll try to make these podcasts shorter because, speaking for 38 minutes is freaking exhausting. I usually have about 5 topics, and today I have 5 topics. And the first one that I wanted to talk about is called Trapped in Consulting. I think it relates to a lot of people, really. That being trapped in consulting is kind of a burden. And at the same time, it's how most consultants and most products start. It's just a different mentality. I've had my service company for so many years, and I understand all those people who advertise their services, but there has to be a change, guys. There's some horrible consulting businesses today, I think, that struggle to earn, like tax credit builders, like attorneys, like real estate agents trying to pitch you on LinkedIn, marketing people. Why they're horrible? Like, they're making good money, but that's the horrible part about it, is that as a consultant today, you are actually making money, and sometimes even good money comparing to the rest of the world. But you're never going to make enough to get you to the next level, like to get you really rich or something. Because while you're in consulting, you're always limited. And usually you're limited by, your physical ability to take calls, for example, to make calls, or to meet with just this amount of people, or to, your market is limited and stuff like that. And on the other hand, it's just this consulting mentality that kills me. When I get all those emails and paid mails on, oh, hello, Mom. My mom just joined the live, and yeah, I'm recording my live Instagram together with my podcast, just my common practice. Anyway, they send those emails and those advertisements on LinkedIn and Instagram, basically telling you that they're going to quadruple your business, doing 10x, and just help you boost it. Or sometimes they even say that they can mentor you. And that's what's crazy about it. Like, you can't mentor yourself to get to the next level. How are you going to mentor me? It's like, I love Badros Koulian. He's a cool guy. Follow him on Instagram. And I look through all ads that I get, because just want to be aware of what's going on. And I just looked at his ad and his landing page, and what he's basically offering is that he can spend a day with you, guiding you, for $40,000. And then he says, "Oh, but I've actually figured out that I can do it with 20 people simultaneously, and then each of you would pay just $2,000, and you would still have all my attention." No, you won't. It's impossible, but okay, even then. And then he'll list like all the industries that he could help you with, and he claims that during that mentorship session, during the day, he can help you find a way to quadruple your business, to do 10x, to just take your business to the next level and all that stuff, to mentor you. No, you can't, Badros. It's impossible to do it, just that way. And you can tell from the testimonials on the website. Those people are, you can always spot somehow, it's pretty biased, but again, you can always spot an entrepreneur versus a wantrepreneur, or versus, someone who's just starting out. And those people who are just starting out, those people are his targets. And I think it's a little unfair, Bedros, because really during the day, you're listing software, for example, as one of the industries, right? If your product or service or whatever, if you're involved with software, then you might be a good candidate for Badros' mentorship during the day. okay, I imagine, for example, my company being one, and I pay $2,000 to be one of the 20 lucky ones to talk to Bedros. What could he possibly know about my insights, about my struggles, and my clientele and my specific ways of doing business without really spending like weeks with me and seeing how this whole thing works and how the sauce is made? Yes, we all as successful entrepreneurs, we understand the basics. We understand that there are a lot of patterns, and those patterns they repeat from one to another. It's the same thing, really, but specific struggles and specific insights of your business are so deeply hidden, and to reveal all that stuff, you need a lot of time. And that person or whoever decides to mentor you, I mean, that person needs to really dive deep into your business and just be focused on that thing alone. And it takes weeks usually. That's how we, for example, like at Techry, when we build a product for a client, it's not that, okay, give us requirements, we're going to build it for you. And like, never do it that way, of course. We meet with a client, like we have several meetings. We spend a week in their office. We study what's going on, in the environment inside. We study what's going on with our customers. We study what's going on with our call centers. We study their financial documentation. We talk to a bunch of people, unbiased, and then we have the picture. And then we understand, oh, okay, so you want to build this, but actually you don't need this because in 6 months, for example, there'll be a new legislation in that country that you're going after, and all those people that you have right now, all that stuff will just become obsolete. Just saying, it's a hypothetical example, but this is how it's done, and this is how you can actually bring value. But I imagine that by the end of this session with all those mentors and all those consulting companies or consulting people who promise you the world, after those consulting sessions, all you're gonna get is, okay, you need to work smarter, not harder, type of advice, and let's figure out who your clients are. Let's build a portrait. Like, you've done all that stuff already. If you haven't, then you're probably on the wrong path. Anyway, I'm just saying that so many people are trapped in consulting, not because consulting is a bad business, but because they have this consulting mentality that, okay, this is the kind of stuff that I can do. This is what I know. I'm going to just, keep doing it. Versus, I think that the market is shifting towards product mentality rather than consulting mentality now. Because I see that so many things can be automated already. So many things are optimized. So many new products are amazing. Like, I just shot a video basically just 5 minutes ago, which is going to be called The Quickest Guide to Creating a Pitch Deck Ever. I find it amazing that on YouTube you can find countless videos. Usually they're like 12 to 20 minutes long about how to create a pitch deck and what needs to be in the pitch deck. My video will probably be under a minute. And well, you're going to want to see the video if you are looking for, pitch deck advice, because it's freaking hilarious how people, still make those long videos, because there's nothing to talk about, really. I mean, everything is already done. And that's what I'm saying. The consultants, consultant companies, consultants, they're still trapped in that consulting mentality, versus they need to be transforming their mentality into product mentality, trying to make their consulting a product, trying to repackage your consulting offering into kind of a product packaging, which then will work much better because people will need to understand right away what they're getting for that money and how you actually going to approach it. It's like, I remember I had a very bad call with a lead years ago, like probably 3 years ago. That was when the fourth industrial revolution was starting. For those who don't know what the fourth industrial revolution is basically the time of IoT, Internet of Things, when robots can think, when they're interconnected, when AI is introduced and all that stuff. It's basically what's going on right now with car manufacturing and batteries and all that stuff. Well, that's the future, obviously, from man hours to robot hours. So, and I had this call with this guy, and I had no idea what fourth industrial revolution was. And we had this conversation, and he says, and he was the CEO of a big industrial company, and he says, okay, so what do you think about the fourth industrial revolution? And I'm always honest with my customers, and I said, well, I really don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I said, oh, okay. Well, he asked me a couple more questions, but then the call ended in a very polite way, and we never spoke again because I was not aware. I was not up to date. I mean, I thought that I could catch a big fish, but I couldn't because I didn't have the right rod. I didn't have the right boat. I was not ready at all. And this arrogance of my consulting experience, played a very bad role in that conversation. And even if I knew what fourth industrial revolution was, I still, my company still obviously lacked core experience to make it work. But I'm just saying that consulting mentality is probably going to be your enemy in today's world, like in 2 or 3 years from now, especially, because you think that you know how to help your customers, or, you're arrogant to think that you can help everyone. But in fact, you absolutely can't, and you can't help yourself. And you need to switch from thinking that to actually starting to study particular verticals and maybe just focusing on those verticals alone, or one vertical, and then seeing how you can add value to that one particular vertical based on, 3 or 5 different companies' examples. That's what I would do. Okay? Because the second topic of today's podcast was called Going Where the Wind Blows. This is exactly what's happening with consulting firms, with products even, that if the wind is blowing somewhere, it means that someone is blowing that wind. Someone is making that wind blow, right? And going where the wind blows feels like the right thing. It's like, okay, now I know what the fourth industrial revolution is. Now I'm up to date. I've caught up, right? No, you haven't. You just know what the trend is. But someone created that fourth industrial revolution trend. And you need to be as close to the core as possible. Because if you're not, then you're just a follower. And that's the follower's mentality that Twitter introduced that, basically gave it the name. There have always been followers, obviously, since Moses, I guess. But the follower mentality in business is a hidden threat to your business, to your life, to everything. Because if you're a follower, if you accept that position, if you accept that role, then you will always go where the wind blows. You're never going to be the wind creator, the one that makes the wind blow. And that's what you're shooting for. You need to be as close to companies or people who make that wind blow to understand how you can benefit from this early stages, right? It's also called first to market. It's like Airbnb was first to market in the sector. It's not that you have to look for innovations all the time, but be first to market. It means that you find that one little thing that, that's really exclusive about this new trend, and then you utilize that, and then, you make it work. That's how most of the products that you're using, like all those apps that you have on your iPhone right now or Android, that's why those apps are on your iPhone, because those people found the edge. They found those little things that were close to new trends. Like Uber did create the trend, but like everything else around it, payment solutions and maps and, tracking algorithms, all that stuff was created because of that trend. And, those companies that provided Uber with those solutions that Uber then utilized, they understood this and they did it. So this is the kind of the mentality that is a winning mentality. Yeah, I wanted to make this podcast shorter. Damn, and I'm moving extremely slow on my list. Well, anyway, let me make it quick. Okay, number 3 is don't ask me what I do. Ask me what I did to do what I do. This is a quick one because I get so many questions like, okay, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Like on Instagram when you post something or or on podcasts. So what do you do? How did you make it? What is your tip? What is your secret to success? I guess, all people actually get those questions, who become more or less successful. And it's okay. I mean, people are curious. That's great. But come on, guys. I mean, stop asking those questions. It's ridiculous to ask those questions. First of all, because you haven't done your research, obviously, because all of those successful people, they have their bios, they have their websites. You can just go to to those websites and explore. Or you could just go to the nearest bookstore or Amazon and just buy, 5 essential books and from business people and just read those books, and you will understand what people did, and you will see 2 patterns. And I'm not going to give you the cliche work hard and stuff. Like, I mean, firefighters work hard. People, creating metal sheets work hard. Engineers work hard. I mean, most business people, they don't really work hard. I mean, it looks like that, when you look back. Okay, yeah, I've really done a lot. I've come a long way. I've probably worked hard. But in fact, you were just having fun. Doing what you love, being passionate about it. Again, all that stuff is cliche. But it's what I would say, what I did to get, where I am is I was constantly in the mindset of looking for ways to make things that I was already doing better. And that's, I think, the crucial part. That's what Henry Ford was saying, that everything that's been done can be done better. And that's the mindset that you need to embrace. That's, again, why I even talked about, being trapped in consulting problem. Because if you're not thinking about how you can improve your situation, how can you do this better, how can you do that better, then you're trapped in the loop. And being trapped in the loop in current economy is a suicide. Well, literally, because it's not even the metaphor of an elevator anymore or escalator. The life only goes down, and you just need to push really hard to walk up the escalator that's going down. And if you run, then you can outrun the life. Well, I think right now it's basically, an escalator that's doing 100 miles an hour down, and you need to run 200 miles an hour, and it's just increasing every day. And I'm actually, that's one of the stupid fears. I only have 2 fears, basically. Just they're all related to my life, to my family, to their health and stuff. Nothing else. And this is one of the stupid fears, that this world is spinning so fast, and it's just going faster and faster, that I need to make everything possible, everything in my power, everything in my capabilities right now, so that my kids will not have to, well, they will have to, but so that it will be a little easier for them to, to make it work. Because just the level of competitiveness is just extremely high. It's so high that all those advices by Gary Vee, by, Tony Robbins, by, Seth Godin, by, all those mentors and Mark Cuban, that stuff will never happen in 5 years. Those advices will never work again. Like, okay, you have to create a content, be on Instagram and create a content, be present, sell your company for billions of dollars like Mark Cuban did. That stuff will never, it will stop happening. It will stop happening. And because so many people will start utilizing those advices, so there will be a new economy, a new way of doing stuff. And if you are 4 or 5 years old right now, you are in for a very, very hard life, very tough run, because you will have all the means, all the tools, everything's digitized, everything is ready for you. But what exactly are you going to do with all that stuff? That's the problem. And I mean, honestly, if I were 18 right now or 15, my chances will be limited based to where I started. Comparing to where I started. So yeah, to do what, to get me where I am right now and where I will be in a couple of years, for example. I know exactly what's working. It's this constant analytical mindset that is continuously analyzing everything that I'm doing, every aspect of my life, and trying to improve it, just bit by bit. And it's not that you're not rolling back. Of course you do. And sometimes you lose big time, and sometimes you win big time. But mostly, it's 2 steps back, 1 step forward, but then 5 steps forward. It's not something you can predict, really. And the second element to it is freaking luck. It's just inevitable. Things happen, okay? And shit happens, and things happen. And if you're constantly moving forward just bit by bit, then, the second element, it will happen. Either shit will happen or things will happen. And you never know what exactly, it's going to be. So we're just people, it's life. It's all just a game. The game has rules, but there are no guaranteed outcomes. So I wouldn't say that, there are guaranteed advices or tips or secrets or whatever. It's just like, yeah. Well, one tip actually is based on the article that I just read about the painters, which had a very curious and interesting statistics. Scientists analyzed that painters, and they analyzed from 1980s to 2016. All painters that started their careers, their first 4 exhibitions, so they had their first 4 exhibitions in the biggest museums and galleries in the world. And there were only 4 or 5 of those, like London, New York, Tokyo. And they started their careers there, meaning that they knew people who allowed them to have those exhibitions there. They were in the market in the next 10 years, and they were selling their paintings really well, and they were trading and stuff like that. And people who started organically, they sucked most of the time. Like 90% of those guys became average by the age of, 50 or something. And only, I think, 14% became great by the end of their career. But those guys who started in those big museums and galleries, they were continuously successful throughout their life, throughout their career. So it means that you have to start from the top. If you start from the top right away, then, well, you have really low chances of failing. What it means is that you need to know the right people. Networking. I think that's one of the tips that, I realized too late, but, well, I did. And, it's one of the things that I did to get me where I am. And anyway, I have 2 more things here on this list, but I really probably don't want to go over those things because this episode will become too damn long. So I'm just going to transfer those 2 things to the next one, and I'll call it a night for tonight. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys or hear you guys next time. Bye.